I'm inclined to agree.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Inkler. Joining me, as always, in the co-host seats are our good friends, Miss Angela Rose
Hi, everyone.
and Mr. Darren Starland.
Who's that?
I get the guy who is collapsing from the heat, just like the rest of us.
Well, yeah.
It has been very hot. In fact, I think earlier this week, Darren and I compared temperatures, and they were almost identical between Pennsylvania and North Carolina.
According to my phone, it is 81 degrees out right now.
I think I got you beat.
I've got 82 degrees. Tomorrow's high is 93. Tuesday 97. Wednesday 90. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun, and probably heat index will put it worse than that.
At some point next week, we're supposed to crack 100.
Oh, that's it.
I'm
Ross
not
has
used
92.
to that. Hi, John Knight. Hi, Ross.
Hello, guys. Hello to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Sorry that I missed out on last Sunday. As I mentioned before, I had a family that was staying here, and we wanted to spend time with them, so I wasn't able to make the stream. But from what I heard, Angela and Darren did an amazing job at keeping you all entertained for a couple hours.
Or at least on topic, sort of.
Sort of.
John Knight says tomorrow it's going to be 98 degrees in Virginia, where he's at.
I didn't realize he was that close. Tomorrow's 96 here, but the real feel like 105.
All the fun that you can stand with all the heat.
I think I'm gonna die. Not literally. I just don't.
That's Darren's job.
I'm extremely heat sensitive and.
What you really need is a nice vending machine.
What you really need is to come work with me for a day.
In the winter, sure. As for vending machine, Doug, I did manage to sell somebody on actually watching vending machine this morning at axe throwing.
Nice.
The truck coon image that Darren's put in the chat. Someone had sent me that this morning, and I showed it to another anime fan at axe throwing, and he laughed. And then I asked him, because he also actually does like some isekai, and I asked him if he'd seen vending machine, and he said no, and I basically told him you enjoyed it, and that if he likes isekai at all, he should check it out.
Isekai, vending machine is an isekai that should not have worked as good as it did. It has no right to be as good as it is. Not saying it's a work of art. I'm just saying I went in with very low expectations and was very pleasantly surprised when it actually had a decent story and everything else to go with it.
But
yeah,
I figured you'd be amused at that because I gave you so much crap for that one, and I refused to watch it on principle. But
so what you'll have to do is you'll have to see if that person actually does watch it, and then get their unbiased opinion.
Yeah. Oh.
And if they recommend it, then you should watch it.
I'm still not going to watch it. I don't like it. I don't like isekai. But, oh God. And the chat's already going off the rails.
Yeah, I saw that, and I just kind of ignored it. Ross is being Ross, which, yes, we enjoy when Ross kind of tries to derail us. We love all of our fans out there. We really do.
Absolutely. You all are awesome.
And hello to Nanya.
John's question to me, that's a really good question. because I haven't started anything new this season yet because I've been way too busy. But
And I've started like 9 shows.
Yeah, Darren has been the ultimate hypocrite this season.
wait, Darren's ahead of both of us this time.
I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot that stood out to me for this season, so I wasn't planning
Same.
on watching a lot.
Well, same. And not all my shows are out.
The only one I haven't watched is the one that the Ross compared to Domestic Girlfriend.
And Truck-kun missed an anime character last week in episode 2 of Days with My Stepsister. What, Ross?
Well, that's because Truck-kun was too busy going after somebody, and they don't want me to live in this world either, or something like that.
So,
I have to say, it's to the point anime recognized it as an actual service. Were you not visited by our truck?
So anime. So in the world of anime, or anime has gotten to a point where it has. What's the word I'm looking for here? We've gotten to a point where it has transcended its own little niche and made its way into the sci-fi and speculative fiction communities. Because I worked a convention this weekend called ReaderCon, which is mostly sci-fi authors and people who read, write, edit, critiques science fiction novels. And one of the panels that I actually worked on was titled "The Unsatisfying Endings," and the tagline.
You mean half the anime that are produced?
The tagline for the description started with Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan is notorious for being one of the most unsatisfying endings of a quality show. And I had a good 5-minute conversation with the panel moderator about this. And, well, we know my opinions on it. And she agreed with me that that it could have ended at season 3 with like a short OVA to tie up loose ends at that point.
And hello, Pop Girl. I'm glad to see you here. Hopefully we can cheer you up. We'll do our best.
Sending good karma your way.
I mean, on the plus side, you're not a Jets fan.
Or a fan of the Utah hockey team. That's literally what they're calling it for now.
And hello, Sharka. Welcome to everybody.
Man, busy crowd.
And Ross says, Angela, the main female character, was listening to music and looking down at it at a crosswalk, walked into the middle of the road, not looking up, but her stepbrother got her quickly out of harm's way, a.k.a. Truck-kun missed.
Ah.
You know, it's kind of sad that Truck-kun turned into the isekai truck when there have been several episodes where the truck has hit the person, and isekai has not been involved at all. Because it was Suzuka that made this. Well, no, not Suzuka. It was Fuka that made Truck-kun famous in the first place.
Pop Girl, I feel for this. I do. Pop Girl's comment: try being an England football fan who just lost back-to-back finals.
I feel Buffalo vibes.
Buffalo apparently still holds that record for 4 lost Super Bowls in a row.
And as a lifelong Red Sox fan, I'm just jealous. Pre-2004, I'd be just jealous that you made it to back-to-back finals. Because there were times when, as a Red Sox fan, we were excited when they saw
Oh
the
yeah.
playoffs as a wild card.
Too many times, I might add. But enough about sports.
John Knight says today is Mike McFarlane's birthday, the voice of Master Roshi in Dragon Ball franchise, Gene Kirchen in Attack on Titan, and Wise Chef and Eden Academy Math Academy in Spy Family. That's right. At least the Celtics won, so you have that to hang your hat on. And the Bills are still better than the Patriots.
And the Florida Panthers won 2 in a row.
At least the Bruins got taken out by the Stanley Cup champions. Not that I'm happy about it, but
nope.
But we are really excited that you're here, Pop Girl. We haven't seen you in the chat, so positive vibes and love goes out to you, and hopefully things will get better. I know that sports can drive people insane.
Yup.
Being a lifelong Boston sports fan, I have had my moments.
Same. Although it is funny, a podcast I follow was actually talking about the England versus Spain final. Granted, the hosts are based out of Scotland. And Ross says tomorrow is his sister's 40th birthday. And apparently super Disney fanatic.
Well, very, very happy birthday to your sister, Ross. I hope that she has a wonderful Mickey Mouse day. Hopefully she can act as goofy as she wants. And we'll leave it at
be
that.
The belle of the ball.
Yeah. Just as long as you're not feeling a little dwarfs and, sneezy or dopey or grumpy or doc.
I knew we were going to keep this going.
I was going to stop, and then you added another one. And
I'm aware.
The stupid humor.
Yep.
I am happy. I am feeling better. I was feeling... I woke up sick last night, so I've been kind of resting today. And John Knight says this weekend was difficult because we lost many wonderful people, including Richard Simmons, Shannon Doherty, Shelley Duvall, and Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
The only reason I even knew about Dr. Ruth was because she was featured on Between the Lions when I was growing up.
Angela, you said that you weren't sure who she was when I mentioned that earlier.
Correct. I don't know if that's an age thing or an I was sheltered thing. Possibly both.
Well, like I said, they put her on a PBS Kids show. That's the only reason I know her. My mom would always kind of frown whenever she came on her segment, even though she was totally fine.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I never understood what she meant until I was older, of course.
Of course. So we have, as Darren says, the hypocrite. He recommended a show all of us watched last season, and he did not watch it, but he is watching 9 shows this season. And what shows?
But you're not going back to watch the one you suggested we watch.
Not yet. Like I said, just like I'm a hypocrite.
I have started 3 shows.
Sorry, it's very easy with my split schedule to watch what's coming out, especially when it's being flashed in my face.
I have started absolutely nothing.
So you're the me this season.
for a week.
I'm trying to see what the shows were that I was watching.
And Ross is taking credit for the fact that Darren's watching my plus size elf.
And okay, Ross, I'll let you have that, even though that's not 100% true.
I was gonna say I thought you mentioned it before Ross, but I could be wrong. I'm tired.
He had he mentioned it multiple times leading up to its actual airing.
Fair. And John Knight is behind on the dubs that he's watching, including My Hero and Demon Slayer. I know I'm at least one episode behind on My Hero. I'm not sure if we're two behind or not.
I think one of the shows I'm watching is on High Dive, which it might be why I can't find it. Oh yeah, 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. I started because Darren was like, "You need to watch this." So I watched the first episode of that one, and then on Crunchy, I am watching the VTuber Legend show, and I will give Ross credit, I did start the Deer show.
I was in the middle of that earlier when the heat got to me and I fell asleep.
Pop Girl says I really need to catch up on My Hero. And John Knight says he added Suicide Squad Isekai to hit what he's watching. You know, our watch list is really short this season.
Yeah.
And I don't think actually everything might be up now. Not everything was up last week.
Most everything I think is up now.
There might be one that dropped. No, it might all be up. I don't know. I'll check in the morning. Because we have one on Netflix, one on Crunchy that I found already. And the other two weren't supposed to start until yesterday.
And what was the show, Darren, that you were saying that I should check out?
Alia?
Alia?
Alia hides her feelings in Russian.
Ah, okay.
Because it's adorable. Because it's adorable so far. It's given me whatchamacallit vibes.
Oh.
Also, did you watch the clip that I sent you at least, or no?
I have not had a chance.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you.
The chat is going on. Ross is denying that he recommended the Dear Doug. He's saying that he warned you about the CGI. And Pop Girl is saying New Black Butler's good if you're into murder mystery. Darren Ross says Nagatoro to you.
She's got Nagatoro-ish vibes, but at the same time, she's not the teasing kind.
And to you, Doug, Ross recommends Why Does Nobody Remember Me in This World?
Okay. Well, it's because you talked about the Deer anime, Ross, that I watched it. So maybe you may not have recommended it to me, but you talked about it enough that I was like, I will check out a couple episodes. And I will say that it gives off a very strong Pop Team Epic Fooly Cooly vibes.
It also kind of reminds me in some aspects. Have you watched one episode or two? Because
I
episode 2's out.
I have only watched one episode of stuff. Being under the weather and resting today, I did not really watch much of anything. I started the second episode of the VTuber since that dropped today, shortly before the stream, and then I realized the show was about to start. So I'm like halfway through that episode.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Well, like I said, I started episode 2 of that and conked out. It reminds me, it kind of gives me Good Luck Girl vibes also. I love how everyone just goes JoJo the minute they encounter a foe.
All right. Ross is recommending to me Days with My Stepsister.
She looks like Marin, to be fair.
That's not.
Speaking of which, Angela, if nothing else, give 2.5 dimensional seduction a try.
If it's on High Dive, I can't.
It's on High Dive.
Then
Yeah. Then message me for the link. It's cosplay.
Darren told me that he suggested that to you last week because it's a cosplay-based anime.
and I said based on the description, I didn't think it was for me.
It's cosplay. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. But there needs to be more to it than that.
Well, at least the girl has skill.
Oh wait, I think I know. I'm trying to. I feel like I watched the first episode of that. Is that
You
the one?
said you did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering what that was. The second episode dropped yet?
And
Yes,
Pop-
it did. I watched it. I watched it either yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
Pop Girl in the chat says they recommend Strawberry Panic as one of their favorite Yuri anime.
Why are we talking about Yuri?
Because I'm reading the comments in the chat.
How did we get on the topic of Yuri, though?
I don't know.
Because Pop Girl enjoyed it and wanted to. We're recommending shows, so Pop Girl wanted to recommend one of her favorite shows. Sharka also enjoyed Strawberry Panic.
That was on my list to watch at one point. Because I was on a. I think that was part of the thing. Because way back when I first started in 2013, 14, my goal was to watch every single anime that Funimation had the license to, which wasn't a whole lot back then. And that's around the time they started adding like 8 to 10 series a season. And that fell to the wayside really quickly.
And Pop Girl, you don't have to be sorry. Enjoy the shows you enjoy. We do not
this
shame
to
here.
ourselves.
It was never dubbed.
Hey,
well, that's okay because most of us don't watch dubbed anime anyway.
Yep. To Love Ru wasn't dubbed for so many years until what, 2 years ago?
I want to say it was probably about 4 years, not 3 or 4 years now.
Well, either way.
I think it got dubbed pre-pandemic.
Well, that was one of the ones that never got a dub for a long time, and was the main reason that I jumped into strictly sub anime. And nothing wrong with Strawberry Panic. I was just like, huh, that was a fast change.
Let's see, does it say when it got dubbed?
And Yeah, no, we will not have the. Doug Winry says hello.
Hello?
And Pop Girl, I 100% agree on the can't wait for the dub. Uh, most of what I watch tends to be subbed. However, in this day and age, the dubs usually are quality.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that the To Love Ru dub actually was really well done. They did a good job. I thought they had a very good cast for that. I don't think Darren watched it dubbed,
I did not.
but I would be interested in hearing your opinion of you watching it in the dub form.
The only thing that sucks is that I don't. Actually, I know this for a fact. The OVAs for To Love Ru were not dubbed, and there's a bunch of them. They're between the 4 seasons, between To Love Ru, Motto To Love Ru, and To Love Ru Darkness. I think there's like 20 plus OVA episodes.
Good
There
lord.
were some series where they just hit a stride, and there was more OVA episodes than there were actual episodes in the season.
All right. Says Pop Girl, the only anime I've watched in dub is Black Butler due to English dub VAs doing accents.
You just
Ross.
watched it for Monica Rial, admit it. You just
And
watched it.
and Pop Girl, on that note, that's one of the reasons I watched the dub of Infinite Stratos.
And
And
hello, Bree.
Ross says, I found an anime that's coming out this fall that resonates with Darren profile name. Look up Let This Grieving Soul Retired.
But Kumagawa keeps neutralizing his own death, so he can't. You can't kill someone when he makes death non-existent.
Pop Girl says, I'm not that modest, am I? I think that was referring to my comment of she only watched the English dub of Black Butler because of Mei Rin. But that's besides the point. Mei Rin was a fun character, and her English voice actress, Monica Rial, it was fun to go to a panel of Monica's many years ago at Bakaretsukan in Colchester, Vermont, where we got her to say that famous panty and stocking line in the voice of Mei Rin. Knowing that there are kids present, I will not say the line, but it was that wonderful repent line, but in the voice of Mei Rin. She said she had never been asked to say one character's line in another character's voice before, but she had fun with it. And good evening, Slim Cognito. I hope you're having a wonderful night.
Man, everyone's here tonight.
We've got a lot of awesome people in here. Love to see the chat so active. Thank you to everybody tuning in tonight. Thank you, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We really appreciate everything. If you listen to us after the fact on the podcasting platforms, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the content that we provide. If you'd like to support us, you can always subscribe, follow us on all the social media platforms, especially subscribe YouTube. And we also have a Patreon if you'd like to help us out there. Any donation goes a long way to help us to get better equipment, make it to events, and at some point be able to get us to have a live show where all three of us are in attendance.
And Slim Cognito says, oh yeah, I've been drawing Asterion, finished a prop commission and almost done with Kineticon prep.
That's right. Kineticon's next weekend.
Yes, it is. And
Good God. Where's this year going?
I'd say, and
um,
SuperCon is in 2 weekends.
yeah.
Does that mean that in 2 weekends, Ange, we have to go crash at Darren's house?
No, because that's too soon.
But Doug was here last year.
It's my sister's wedding is next week. I need time to recover.
I still can't believe that it was just over a year since Doug has been at my house.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. Pop Girl says this year is going too fast. Have you guys gone to New York Comic Con? She is saving up for that. I have not gone to
Nope.
New York Comic Con or Anime NYC. If I'm being 100% honest, I really have no desire to go to New York City.
Thing. The only time I ever wanted to go to New York City was when the Pokemon Center was open. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it is anymore.
Let me explain. And see, I want to go to New York Comic Con, but I don't have it's inconvenient with time and money and just way too much going on right now.
What's
Uh,
money?
exactly. Ross, let me explain the reason why I said that the anime Love is Indivisible by twins is because the main older twin is hit with guilt and begs the main male character to break up with her while thinking, isn't it fun to have a secret relationship?
And Pop Girl says, oh, okay, fair enough. I will say this, Pop Girl, if you do come back to the US and you are in New York, I will do what I can to try to arrange where we could meet up, maybe for lunch or something of that nature, where we can meet in person, because it's been fun to chat with you online. It's been fun to have you as a guest on the show. Um, and coming over from the UK is a huge deal, and I would love to be able to just sit down and chat, hang out with friends.
It reminds me of the time of my admin days that we had Brandon Aarons come to the US and met one of our other admins, and I think he was in Alabama at the time, Louisiana, one of the southern states. So yeah, there was that, and then I met one of the ones from Anime Corner because he happens to live in North Carolina as well, just about 3 hours away from me.
And we all remember Brandon Aarons as the first ever co-host of AZR many, many moons ago.
Who is not me, even though I've been called him before.
Yeah, Freudian slips.
See, no one can. I don't think anyone would do that to me.
I don't think so either.
And Slim Cognito says slumber party at Roberto's.
Oh, God.
Hey, why not?
Because we don't have the space.
And Slim also says, I went to New York one time and that was enough. LOL. I was gonna ride the subway. Some lady behind me while I was going in pulled out so she could go in ahead of me.
Well, I'll say this. In New York, if I were to go to New York City, I'm not driving.
No.
Because I think I would get road rage a little too.
I refuse to drive in New York City, and I drive in Boston daily.
And I also say that I have no desire to go to New York City. That being said, one of the places that the railroad goes is not very far from New York City. It's close enough that I have seen the Statue of Liberty from the train.
All right.
So,
this is directed at Pop Girl, but this is for everybody. From Ross. Did you know that Toy Story 5 and Shrek 5 are coming out in 2026?
When is there too much of something?
I think we've reached that point.
Excuse me.
And Slim Cognito said, I believe this is in reference to New York drivers. They are a special kind of aggressive.
To be fair, Florida has their own share of drivers.
As does
And
Mass.
Well, Florida drivers are all New England and New York transplants.
well, then again, did you have issues with traffic while passing through North Carolina, Doug?
North Carolina, no. Virginia, yes.
Okay, because around here, our drivers have turned into, well, they can't drive. And every time it rains, they really can't drive.
And Lord
And,
help you if it snows.
and that's the same as up here. Like up here, I have fewer issues driving in the snow in a blizzard than I do driving in rain.
Pop Girl says your guy's traffic scares her.
That is very, very fair.
Yes.
God, I have a couple of. No, I have driving stories from. So in college, I had a friend who was from Connecticut, and he lived right on the New York border, and he was an EMT, and he drove an ambulance in New York City, and therefore he thought that meant he could handle driving in Boston. Within 30 seconds of getting picked up at North Station, we were already going the wrong way down a one-way street.
Well, to be fair, my mom always told me if I want to learn how to navigate downtown Raleigh, I need to go down there one day and get lost because Raleigh is nothing but one-way streets except for literally two roads.
Yes,
And
but Raleigh is probably straight lines and a grid.
pretty much.
Boston is not.
Yeah, Boston is not, and some of those one-way roads
You
are
turn left
divided
to
by
stay
a
on the
park.
and you turn left to stay on the same road. But
Yep.
all right. Ross says, I'm curious because what I saw in movies, but in real life, do people in Boston say, hey, I'm walking here?
Hey, I'm walking here.
Not from what I've experienced in my time living in Mass and all the times of going to Anime Boston. You don't really people say, hey, I'm walking here. Usually it's where's the closest donkeys. Which you only have to walk about 3 minutes before finding a Dunkies in any direction.
Unless you're in the North End. I say this because that actually happened. We were in the North End. And we found these and these tourists asked us where the nearest. I believe it was actually Starbucks. But the point was, the North End. It's all little hole in the wall coffee houses. There is no Dunks. There is no Starbucks.
And Pop Girl says, I heard Boston and New England roads are what British people have to deal with all the time.
Having been to London, yeah, actually, I can actually concur.
Well, you also have to remember that, like cities like Boston and a lot of New England towns were founded by the British, and so a lot of that technology went into the creation of the roads and the infrastructure.
Or didn't, and the roads were literally cow paths.
Well, at some point, that technology came over.
Eventually, but the in some spots, the instance was the cows made the road, and then they just kind of cobbled it over.
Yeah, a lot of cobblestone, some brick. And plenty of potholes.
Yup.
Well, when you have snow every year, I mean, I can only see the roads being deteriorated.
I, you know,
I mean, West Virginia, their roads are terrible as well. Every time I go through there, but at least they know how to keep them clear during a snowstorm.
that's not setting a very high bar. And
Just saying.
we have gone like so terribly off the rails.
I did have one topic that came to mind, and this is based off of stuff that I had seen on social media recently about people talking about conventions and the fact that many conventions are becoming excessively guest heavy and guest focused events to the point where vendors, artists, dealers are struggling because everybody focuses more on they want to get the autograph from their favorite voice actor, and you're not taking anything away from conventions that they have a right to do that. Kineticon, especially since COVID, has been known for bringing in 10, 15, 20 very good guests.
I I think it really does depend on the convention. Like, I haven't been to Connecticut since well before COVID. Um, but the last time I was there was definitely a mix of the. Give me a second, please.
Yeah, but and a lot of the talk about this is people are and I know for conventions that a celebrity like a J. Michael Tatum or Monica Rial or even Rob Paulson is
Sorry
a
about.
big draw to get people to come to the conventions. But then people focus on saving what money they have just to get a couple of autographs, which then in turn hurts the dealers and the vendors who, bust their butt to produce
Um,
and try to make a
and
living
I
And
on that side of things.
and to, and for that argument, I will say this. Um, and the reason being is most, not all, but a large majority of stuff in the dealer room, not so much artist alley, can be found online if one looks hard enough. And a lot of them don't like paying the dealer prices because a lot of times they're slightly inflated, and they would rather have the slim, once in a lifetime experience of meeting their voice actor because it's a much rarer occurrence. So that's
uh,
my only argument in that regard.
and again, I think it varies from con. I think it does vary con to con. There's a small number of conventions that actually don't focus on the big name guests for ultimately that reason, because they don't want to overcharge for badge prices. They want the con goers to have that small local con feel. Um, and then you've got more industry, if you will, industry cons like Fan Expo, New York Comic Con,
San
and
Diego Comic Con.
but
Oh,
Fan Expo was so focused on the. I know it's not the same because it's not an anime con, but you get the idea. There, it's literally there's almost nothing to do but the celebrities, and then a bunch of them bail. Like this year, I don't like this year. There was overwhelming amount of celebrity guests that canceled last minute for Fan Expo.
Interesting.
More the number was high, and it was actually a big in the Facebook groups. It was a big deal, and people complaining.
I also think it, like you said, it depends on the convention. It depends on, a convention like Kineticon is known for bringing in multiple guests and things
But
of
they
that nature, and
also
they've done that for years.
Kineticon at least the last time I went, also they did have some big name guests, but they also had like a really good and really busy artist area. I didn't actually look at the vendor area because that's not because we were only there for the day. And we spent a lot of time in Artist Alley, and I ended up spending a good amount of time waiting in line for a signature for one of my friends. I said I would, so I did. And
And Pop Girl says that she has been to Fan Expo. It is centered around the guests. Once they got stuff signed, it was like, now what do we do?
and that's
And Slim says you're a good friend, Angela.
thank you, Slim. No, and it really and this kind of goes back to one of the conversations we've had over the years about, what kind of what are you looking for in a convention?
I have found as the years have gone by that when I go to conventions, especially in recent years, I have not gone to many panels. It's been more of networking, checking out the artist alley and the dealers hall, talking to the people there. Occasionally, when I have the funds, getting autographs. But even then, going through autograph lines, it's talking with the voice actors as a way of trying to see if they'd be interested in being a guest on the show.
And no, and for me, it varies. Like this year, I think I spent more time in the dealer's room than I have in a very long time at Anime Boston. I typically prefer Artist Alley because because for me it's like I'm not necessarily a merch person, and
But she knows people who are.
I know a lot of people who are. And yep. That was 100% priceless and 100% worth it.
That was totally unexpected, and I'm very thankful.
I tend to hang out in the dealer room when there aren't any panels that interest me, and then I think the 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 vendors and the artists get tired of seeing me walk around and not buying anything. It just feels like that sometimes.
Oh god. The answer, Slim, is yes, it was.
And Slim also says that they are a panelist and a vendor, and they feel bad
Julia
about not
Coelho
going
says
to other.
hi.
And they say that they feel bad about not going to other people's panels. That is never going to die. Thank you, Lady Beard.
No, it is not.
And Pop Girl
Speaking
says that Black Clover came out with a new wave of pops, and she had to buy them.
speaking of which, I got a Lady Beard inspiration earlier. Someone I don't know who, wasn't Lady Beard, Baby Beard, any of them, came out with a metal version of the Shikonoko's opening song that went viral on the internet.
Interesting.
And I was
Interesting
like,
indeed.
oh boy, I wonder if Lady Beard's gonna see that and go, I can do this too.
Possibly. And
And I'm curious, Pop Girl, how many pops do you have now? Is it possible for you to give a number as to how many pop figures you have collected?
and Ross says officially the entire Power Ranger series has ended, not just the show, but now the comic series is ending.
Interesting. I didn't know it was still going.
I will actually have to ask husband about that because he's the one that likes Power Rangers. Pop Girl says, I will tell you, but I've had to sell some.
Well, it stinks that you've had to sell some, but I can understand the need for having to sell things to be able to have funds for other things. Lord knows that we've all had to sell things that we probably didn't want to. Like our soul to the devil.
Let's hope you haven't done that.
Our Lord and Savior vending machine. $186 pops. Wow. I've got a ways to go if I want to catch up anime figure wise.
I have to say, and I have what, about 15, 20, maybe.
I've got like 5 figures up there. I've got 2 free runs over here. There's 2 Maleems up there.
You
There's
got a
bunch
unit
of-
sitting.
There's like
You got a unit sitting in my closet.
there's 6 anime figures on that shelf, and behind me, and the little curio cabinet that you can kind of sort of see the glass of right there. That's almost completely full. I've got Nendroids on a shelf in the kitchen, more anime figures up. So I got them everywhere. I don't think I've actually taken account of them.
I own exactly 2 anime figures. One of them you can see on my screen.
And one of them is, well, a third one is sitting in my closet.
It is not in my possession yet.
Well, neither is the one that belongs to Doug.
But you can see Anya.
She's hanging out up there. And then, thank you to Rick, the awesome dude that was so nice enough to give us some figures last time that we saw him.
And the one is sitting on my speaker.
I'm still impressed. I managed to get a figure in exchange for 2 hours worth of work.
Nothing wrong with that, though. I'm kind of wondering, because I know I have some figures around. I don't remember where they're at. I know I have a Deku figure that I would gladly trade for somebody good.
Rangers is actually ending the comic and everything. Okay. It came up.
That is insane. And I'm curious, is Pops big in the UK? Like they are here in the US?
I think so. But you can also do custom ones.
I have seen some custom ones that look really, really interesting. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Pops. I think most of them are ugly. There are some exceptions.
That's one of those.
But I also lean more towards the Nendroids when it comes to the anime figure stuff because they're posable. You can interchange the faces and sometimes clothing or accessories or things of that nature.
Oh, that reminds me, Doug, my friend, who is a huge figure collector, he bought 3 of the exact same figure, so he'd be able to display all 3 different uh, poses at once. I just sent it to you. He paid a good chunk for this too.
Good lord.
And
That was that, and the figure was Nendroid of Unogasi.
Yep. Let's see. Let's see. 1K Australian dollars for the 3 of them.
Interesting.
So in U.S. currency, it's about $222 a piece.
The All Might Nendroid was scary. Typically, if I go after Nendroids, they are of characters that I like or from shows that I like. I am picky about the figures I get. I have been very good, and my wife can vouch that I typically won't buy figures unless I'm looking for a specific one or a specific few, and can reasonably um I can reasonably look at it and say, okay, I'm making this purchase because I want it, and I'm not going to put myself financial struggle by making the purchase. My days of just randomly buying stuff are over, except lucky bags. I will buy lucky bags that have figures, and most of the time it's of very common, very the overly popular shows, characters, and stuff. Like I'm sure if I got something like I think I got one that was like a shonen one and ended up with Deku in the mystery bag, and I was disappointed because it was Deku.
I feel like you would have been happy with almost anybody but.
I I I I think it was a My Hero, and I was hoping to get Asui because I do like Asui. I think she's one of my favorite characters from like the heroes side of things. The or not Asui, the frog girl.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Asui
T-
or something like that?
I know I know exactly who you mean.
But
Okay. From Ross. Might be the hardest question ever for all of us as fans, but if you could choose any one anime character to hang out with for a week, who would you choose?
And Pop Girl says Marileona Vermilion for reasons.
And Slim says Guts.
And we'll just leave it at that.
See, that's
hang out with them for a week. Can we date them? Or strictly for
that is a very tough, because I had like 3 characters come to mind for 3 very different reasons.
I don't know. See,
that's a great question, honestly.
That is a
yeah,
very
that's a
good question.
fantastic question. I feel like
I don't know who would be qualified to hang out with for a week.
And Ross says, yes, Darren, whatever you want to do.
See, I feel like one of mine would be Mao Mao. Just because she's hilarious.
Speaking of which, did you watch that clip I sent earlier?
I did. Thank you for that. That made me giggle. But Mao Mao definitely worth hanging out with for a week.
If I hung out with Soma from Shokugeki for a week. Would I learn how to cook? Like, actually cook?
Maybe.
Or would I
Like
be forced into foods that are intentionally not good? Because
probably
they're
both. Like part of me leans towards Senko-san because who wouldn't want to be pampered? Part of me leads towards like Mizore from Rosario Vampire. But I think that's just because, early waifu. But there are a lot of good characters out of there.
Agreed. I mean, another.
I mean, that's right up there. Like, if you could get put into an anime world, what world would you want to be put into?
Saga Tanya the Evil. No.
If that was the case, Darren, I think you'd be a better fit for Isekai Quartet. Because then you could have the best of four worlds.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
because
that doesn't help me any, Doug.
with all the anime I've seen, picking just one character to hang out with for a weekend. I'm gonna hang out with Goku.
Because Darren wants to go Super Saiyan on those lawns.
Well, it would probably make hedge trimming a lot easier if you think about it.
Actually,
Because
and then I just realized, are we counting Ruby in this?
You could.
Because if we're counting not made in Japan shows, then I'll go with Yang from Ruby because reasons.
my number one pick for obvious reasons would be Zenobia, but I'm trying to think of someone to hang out with.
Maybe somebody like Freerin just to like pick her brain over the stuff she's experienced in her lifetime, the different knowledge.
That would be good. And then also people like Senko could also come into effect. Rory, any of those ones that are hundreds of thousands of years old but have the appearance of a child.
Yeah, because Senko's what 800 years old. Freerin's over 1,000.
Then you got the elf from Goblin Slayer. What was she, Ange? Like 400?
Something
500?
like that. John Knight says he would hang out with Mash Burn Dead. You know what? I can get behind that. Mashal was awesome.
Yes, Ross, I know you said I could date them, but I'm also trying to think of someone just beyond dating them. I have too many waifus per se.
Marin.
I would love to hang out with Marin.
See, honestly, Yor would probably be in.
Yor would be up there.
Let's be honest, most of the Spy Family cast would be up there for me.
Except for the white hair chick. She kind of scares me.
That's one of my favorites. Because she's crazy.
Go watch the movie and pay attention to Frank. What happens to Frankie?
Why do we care about him?
Because it's entertainment. That's why.
These are like some very thought-provoking questions that have come up now.
Doug, if I was to hang out with Lala for a week, what all would I go through?
I don't even want to think about it because you'd probably end up having to deal with Momo too.
Momo I can deal with. But Lala and her inventions doing God knows what. Because remember, Rito was a test subject on how many things? Be it
True.
intentional or not.
True. I mean, you could always end up with the Kiss Exist girls.
That's fine. Akko, Rico, Mikini. I don't care.
I mean, early season attack. The early season Attack on Titan crew.
I knew you were going to go there. I was going to say I could see Ange in Attack on Titan, probably season 1, season 2-ish.
Even
What?
3.
Or put Ange in the SAO world.
I thought about
Post
joining.
Kirito.
I thought about Maple Tree.
Go hang out with Alice.
Maple Tree would be fun. I think it would be fun to hang out with Maple and Syrup. I'd be too busy. I'd be too busy fawning over Syrup. Who am I kidding? Turtles are one of my favorite animals. So
go hang out with Eddie's from Cat Planet Cuties.
I think her name was Chica. Whoever the character was that Jeremy Lee voiced in that, I liked her. I thought she was a cuter character than Eddie's. She was like the gray-eared cat girl.
You and your cat girls.
Let's see.
Darren brought it up. And of all the names I've listed, I only had one fox girl in there with Senko, and that was just because being a fox deity that wants to pamper you, and who wouldn't like to be pampered? Granted, it would be very weird at first, but
Here's one. Speaking of that, the angel next door smart spoils me rotten. Mahiru. Yes, she is adorable. Or hey, I can go hang out with Nightmare.
what about Megumin?
Then I have to carry her everywhere.
She's good for one pop, one explosion, and then she's done.
Mm-hmm.
Megumin's like a bottle rocket. Little feisty, get one explosion, and then it's done.
Then we got any of the Hokkaido gals. Or go hang out with Hestia.
No, Hestia annoys me.
What about Belle?
Belle would be fun, I think, to chat with.
Eins bottom butts it.
I never really cared for her character.
Really?
I mean, she was interesting to start off, but I kind of got tired of her as the series went on. How about the bartender? And Ange knows who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Making the glass of God.
Oh, that would.
Or Ange could go along with Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer's another good one.
Get into the many sides of voice actor radio that Darren still needs to watch.
Hey, we could go out. We could all qualify to hang out with Sadao Mao because we've all been in fast food.
It just sucks that the second season was horrible.
It was meh. It wasn't horrible.
I mean, I tried watching it sub and dub, and I didn't get very far in either.
What show are we talking about now?
Devil is a part timer.
I never tried that one.
I think what kind of killed it for me, a they brought a child in from out of nowhere that looked at the hero as the mom and the devil as the dad. It was 7 years between season 1 and season 2. And it just felt like when I went back and rewatched season 1 and then dove into season 2, excited because there was finally a season 2, it didn't feel like it made a good transition. That also might have been what kind of killed it for me. It didn't feel like it had a good flow, probably because of the time lapse between, but and I know, Angela, you're big on storylines and stuff, but sometimes there are just things in shows where it just something feels off, and even though you enjoyed part of it, it just kills.
Oh, yep. I bringing that back. Attack on Titan. Anyone?
Ooh, here you go, Doug. Go hang out with Ayamu from Is This a Zombie?
Which one was that? Was that the zombie girl?
No, that was Sankaraya. No, that was the one where you had him turn into the magical girl because of an incident.
I mean, if that's the case, then we'll just send you to gonna be the twin tail.
I don't like Twin Tail though.
Well, just think the main character is a guy who turns into a twin tail hero when he transforms. Or we just send Darren to go hang out with Nico.
I'd rather go hang out with Tanya.
I take that as a Nico no.
Pretty much. Would not want to go hang out with.
Doug, which anime did you watch that went downhill? First thing that comes to mind is School Days.
It only took till episode 12 for us to figure out what was going on.
It was episode 10 is
Figure out why the tags are what they are.
episode 10 was when it really started to nosedive. Other shows that nosedived: Sword Art Online, the first season. After about 6 episodes,
I would argue. I think that's the second season.
It's the second part of season 1 technically, or no, it's technically season 2. I don't remember.
That's I don't remember, but that one specific story arc.
It's
Alfheim.
Alfheim is shit. You can skip
that's the thing that's the one thing everyone agrees on.
You can. I will recommend Sword Art Online, but I will recommend people skip that arc, or I will recommend they just jump from season 1 to Alice.
About to say, but the Gun Gale section wasn't terrible.
Gun Gale, I enjoyed Gun Gale. Gun Gale seems to be more polarizing.
Denim was honestly one of my favorite characters because before Alice was introduced, she was a close second behind Asuna.
As far as other shows, I can't say they went downhill. I'll just say I would more say I just got bored with them. Would be shows like My Hero Academia, which I went into season 4, Fairy Tail, which I watched 100+ episodes of, and I just got kind of bored of them. Maybe because there's so many episodes that's like I can't keep up with this and watch all these new shows that are coming out. Because granted, there's many seasons where I will sit down and watch between 10 and 15 shows. I can't say I'm going to do that this season because I found like 4 shows to watch, and I don't know if I'm going to finish a couple of them. That deer one is just it's so extremely ridiculous. I don't know how much of that I can take.
And for me, it's there's either way too much or there's very little. In this season, it's very little. A couple seasons ago, we had, I think, 10 that we started and 7 or 8 that we actually finished.
Excuse me.
Not to mention all the stuff she's got backlisted,
Yeah, because we have to add on at least 2 or 3 shows per season.
including Banished from the Heroes Party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need to actually. I need to actually go back and watch that.
Ross says that he would choose for male archery training, hang out with Tiger Vermund, born from Lord Marksman, and
Tigray?
Tigray.
Oh wow! Oh my god! Look, that actually would be interesting.
And he says for date Kotone from RPG Real Estate. I know how much you love that show, Ross. I know Kotone is like your ultimate waifu. And nothing wrong with that.
Let's see.
Mizure is still one of my number one waifus. And I've had people who have asked me if I consider Free Run a waifu. I don't. I just think that she's like an adorable character. I enjoyed the character as a whole, but I don't consider her as like a waifu or anything like that, even though she's over 1,000 years old.
About to say she's too old.
Well, the thing is, she's like 1,000 years old, but has like the mental capacity of like a 14 or 15-year-old girl with how she acts and does things. Very naive, very not aware of the world as it is, but thinks she knows. I also want to take a moment to thank everybody who tuned in for our test gaming stream that we did earlier this week. I think it was Wednesday that I was like, yeah, I just feel like playing it. I bought a new game. I feel like playing it. Darren, you want to come and hang out? And Darren came and hung out I think we played for like 2.5 hours where we just chatted about random nonsense. Just to the next morning, get a message from Angela. What the hell did you guys do last night?
Because I went to bed early because I had back-to-back nights of going to bed at 1 a.m. So Wednesday I went to bed stupid early, and then I get the email notification that the AZR Twitch channel is live, and I'm like, what the heck? That's not. I don't care. I'll deal with this tomorrow. Because I see in my half asleep brain, I thought there was an issue that there was a hack. But no, it was just you guys.
I just had bought a new game and was like, oh, let's try this, and it's actually kind of fun. I know, Ross, you said that you enjoyed. It was nice and relaxing after having a rough day, which I am hoping to be able to do more gaming streaming here in the future on a random night during the week.
So me playing games would not be like that, because it would be a lot of me either running around getting lost in a map, because I'm notorious for that, or it would be me cursing because I can't figure out how to do something.
Although it might be fun to get Ange to get Balloons Tower Defense 6, and then Ange, Darren, and I play BTD 6 on random maps.
Would we be playing together or against each other?
Together.
Yeah, I'm about to say we'd be picking. Probably all three of us would pick the same map, and then see who could go the farthest.
That would be interesting to do it
Oh,
that way. It also would be interesting to have like the co-op to see how far we could get with the three of us.
actually, I actually like the idea of co-op. And yes, Ross, that actually did happen. Doug, I don't know if Darren told you, towards the end of the last stream, we got a creeper in the chat.
Oh, I did not tell him. I completely forgot.
And
Interesting.
the creeper made some comments at a few people and then basically started asking for somebody to get him a girlfriend.
Interesting.
And the funny stuff was after the stream ended,
Yeah. Or as it was ending.
pretty much.
People are out there, I tell you.
Yep. But go back and look at the YouTube comments on YouTube. Go back and look at the comments on last week's streams. But I digress. Because I didn't remember how to ban somebody. Otherwise, I probably would have. Going back to the chat. Ross says, this is why I only love 2D waifus.
And that's why we're on, and that's why we watch 2.5 dimensional seduction. Because the main character feels the same way until he comes across cosplay.
And I kind of pulled up last week's stream, fast forwarded it to like the last couple of minutes. Just trying to see.
What in the heck we're talking about?
Yeah. I'm guessing it's this KR person.
I don't remember the name they used.
Nor do I.
It starts off with "Hey Ross," and then "We talk Ross."
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're gonna get all these interesting people.
Interesting is definitely one way to put it.
Mm-hmm. It takes all kinds of kinds.
Yep.
Indeed.
And Ross says it. I think you just said this. Ross says he loves his 2D waifus, and Darren loves his body pillow waifus.
Yep. Yep. At least you can cuddle with them.
Is that where the 2.5 comes in?
Almost. I mean,
Yay, Pop Girl is still here. Great.
Yay!
if you have someone cosplay your favorite character, are they really 3D? Or are they, because they're depicting a 2D character, so...
Nico and Kiyoshi, game playing idiots. They're here. welcome. And they say they need to get. I still need to get some merch of my waifu.
And who is your waifu, Nico and Kiyoshi? Curious to see who your waifus are.
About to say, one-on-one waifu will destroy your waifu. But yet, we all have them anyway.
And Pop Girl, do you have a waifu or husbando? I'm curious.
On that note, have we ever really found out Ange's husbando?
She refuses to get into that conversation,
Pretty much.
which means it's somebody like Edward Elric or something.
No. If you guys want,
probably Lloyd Forger would be the most recent one.
That's not a terrible one. I'll give you that. Although yours better.
Okay.
I like Yor as a character better, but Lloyd's not a bad husbando. But if you want to play the game of name characters and get my reactions, we could definitely do that. Pop Girl says, hell yeah, I do. And Nico and Kiyoshi say, Chris, you keen from Symphogear? And Pop Girl says, waifus, Mario Leona Vermilion and Shizuma Honozono.
Okay, so Marilyn Vermilion.
That's Black Butler.
That's Black Clover.
Black Clover.
The other one.
It was already stated up in the chat.
Shizuma Hanazono. I don't know that one.
I think Angela is more shocked I threw out a name like Edward Elric as opposed to other things that she would be expecting me to say.
See, I was expecting a dig. I was expecting a dig at shows I like. I was expecting something along the lines of something from My Hero or Demon Slayer. Not gonna lie.
I randomly pulled a name out of my ass for that, but the Edward Elric. I don't even know why I said that, but it was still funny because it got a good reaction.
One of my customers, her daughter, she's a anime fan among other things, and she has stickers all over her car, and she has a sticker that says Eraserhead baby up in this. So was there something I need to know? So was there something that happened with Eraserhead in the series? Or did she just really like Eraserhead, I'm guessing?
I'm gonna go. I think a large part of it is just really likes Eraserhead.
And maybe the sleeping bag thing.
Yeah, probably the sleeping bag thing.
I do know that my wife likes Fat Gum from the show. When he gets into his not so Fat Gum form.
I was about to say the regular Fat Gum or the trim one?
The trim one, I think, is what she really enjoys.
See, I don't know. I just don't look at anime characters that way.
Oh, by the way, speaking of waifus, and also,
God, why, Ross? Why?
Another figure that would be lovely to find if they still exist, Angela, is Lazara Rostov.
Spell that one?
Lisararestall from Dakara Botowa Hika Dekinai. AKA so I can't play H.
So I can't play H?
Uh-huh. She's a redhead.
Of course.
Hot Girl
Um,
says
But
Husbando Sebastian from Black Butler.
and
A lot of people with Sebastian is a Husbando. I know
Ross,
people. Who is Walter White?
I don't know, and I'm sure this is some level of silliness.
I mean, I could have gone very silly when I threw a name out there, but I was nice and put, somebody that was, a halfway decent character.
mm, mm, uh,
I didn't go out there and say like Boxo or anything like that for Angela.
what about
That's
Subaru?
Oh, Ross says,
Breaking Bad.
which I've never actually seen.
Did
I've never seen Breaking Bad either.
I know enough about it, but it's one of those
That'd be
I
like
meant
saying that her husbando is Kramer from Seinfeld.
Ben, no.
Even I know that one. Did I ever watch Seinfeld like that?
I did watch Seinfeld.
Like I said, we could get really silly with that, but I was trying to be nice.
Mm, could also be. Man, now I'm having to dig down my rabbit hole of stories.
No, Ross is taking this in a whole new direction, and what the
Where you,
actual
you might as well say Sheldon if you're gonna go that route.
no. And
I'm
I did,
sorry, but Mr. Wizard was better than Bill Nye.
and
I'm just saying.
Darren, I never actually got into Big Bang Theory, and
Nor did I.
my friends killed it for me because one of my nerd friend groups, they each of them had a character that they very obviously identified with, and I made the mistake of asking them, "Well, which one's me then?" And they made me the blonde, and I was offended because I'd only seen like 3 episodes of the show.
Um, here's one, Doug.
Okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh! So Yami. I mean, who couldn't love that spiky hair?
Is that for Angela?
Yeah, why not? Or you say?
I mean, if we're going to say stuff like that, it'd be like giving you Misty.
I'll take it.
Oh my god.
Look, Misty was my favorite of the bunch. Well, I take that back. I also liked Annabelle from the Battle Frontier.
How did we even get on this subject?
This started
Uh,
with Ross asking us who we would hang out with. I mean, if we're going beyond anime, I'd say I'd hang out with the cast of The Fast and the Furious. Because the misadventures and all of the stupidity.
If we're saying to hang out with like stuff like that, I would almost say that it would be fun to hang out with the original cast of In Living Color, because you had Keenan Ivory Wayans, you had like Jim Carrey. Yeah, it had a lot of really funny people. But man, did we jump all over the place.
Yes, yes, we did. Thank you, Ross, for this.
But I think I asked this of you earlier, Darren, and then we got sidetracked with other things. But what are the shows that you have started watching? I don't know if you even had a chance to answer that.
I did not have the chance to answer that, so let me get on the list. One moment. Alia hides her feelings in Russian, obviously, because
That's the one you have not shut up about since it was announced, I think.
because romance is romance, period, and good romance is just that. And so far, it has been meeting expectations. I mean, hell, it's got in the high eights, which seems to be a common theme among romance anime lately. Okay, I am watching Shikanoko. I'm watching The Deer. Days with My Stepsister, of course. False Harem has actually been pretty interesting. You got a girl and a guy in a drama club. The guy admits that he'd like to have a harem just kind of casually. And, well, this girl kind of gives him that. Doesn't really like him when they first meet like that, but she does different impressions of our favorite Dares. So Sundere, the cool one, the shy one. She does different vocal impressions and will quickly change her hairstyle to match the typical art persona, I guess you could call it, to match the description.
Okay.
And are you watching Wisteria Wand and Sword? I think you would, Doug, since you like Knights and Magic, I would recommend this one to you.
What is the name of it?
Wisteria Wand and Sword.
Wisteria Wand and Sword.
Basically, Guy lives in a magic-oriented universe and is unable to use magic, and because he cannot, he is OP as heck in hand-to-hand combat. And is now trying to graduate from an academy that is specifically for magicians when he himself does not have any
So it's
knowledge.
Mashal, except it takes itself seriously.
Pretty much. And also, it's like Black Clover to an extent, just not shown. It's got an 8.11 so far.
And John Knight is suggesting Angela to check out Rent a Girlfriend.
I'm
He said if you like romance anime.
I'm picky about romance. I'm not 100%. I think right now it's just my backlog is too high that I'm not going to agree to anything.
Except Conception.
It. I'm not arguing. I'm not refusing to. There's only one show I'm refusing to actually watch, and at this point, it's on principle. Everything else is a definite maybe if I get around to it eventually.
Anyway, so continuing down the list, I had started Failure Frame just because I love how all these isekai shows where they're summoning more than just one individual. It's not just like the actual enemy isn't just who they're being summoned to fight. It's also the people doing the summoning. aka the goddess in this case. It's similar to Ari Puerta, which is getting a third season. Let's see. I'm also watching Two and a Half Dimensional Seduction for obvious reasons. My wife has no emotion, which Ross is getting on my case about. I need to start the one about the twins. I don't think I'm gonna be watching the cross-dressing one. And then the other one that kind of appealed to me is Machine Too Many Losing Heroines. Basically, you have a different type of girl that's out for a guy, and they lose, much like the typical childhood friend route that normally loses. So interesting to get that perspective from them.
I did find a fourth show that I did start. No Longer Allowed in Another World. And that's the one where Truck Coon has a job and it's actually
To send people to other worlds.
Yeah. I think the interesting spin on that isekai is like in episode 1, the guy and his lover want to commit double suicide. And in preparations to jump into a raging river, they get hit by a truck and sent to another world where the goddess that sends him there, or the priestess that welcomes him there, it's like, you're the hero, and he looks at her and is like, I just want to die. I don't want to be here. I just want to die. And that's basically the premise of the first episode, is he's just doing things to try to die.
To get himself killed. Well, it's like these people, in many cases in shows that become immortal, what do they long for after they've had their fun?
Death. John Knight says 5 more days until the 5th anniversary of Dr. Stone's English dub.
You said you're not watching Strongest Man. No, Ross, I haven't started it yet, if I end up watching it at all. Ross, it's not as good as Ari Puerta, Failure Frame. It is interesting for the revenge concept, and the way he goes about getting his ability is at least interesting enough. But his classmates are truly despicable, while at least half of Ari Puerta's classmates were decent. The other half, not so much, or were apathetic. It's an average isekai, but at least it has an interesting revenge concept.
Now, Ross, did you say that you were watching Plus Sized Elf?
Oh yeah, and I'm watching that one too.
What has your opinion been of what you've seen of Plus Sized Elf so far?
There was only one episode that's out that I watched. I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely got, like I said the other night, it gave me Immoral Guild vibes, but it's probably because the art style is similar. But basically, you have an elf that crossed over into our world and has become addicted to our food, aka fast food. and in particular French fries because she's a vegetarian. And as a result, she overconsumes and builds up. So she goes to a weight loss clinic, basically, or a massage clinic, because her back's killing her, and basically wants to lose weight because to go back home because the gate she came through only allows you to enter this world and exit this world at exactly as you left your world. So basically, her weight had to be identical. So they try to help her burn everything off so she can go back home. And I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I I've only seen the first episode as I think that's the only one that's out. But there are more than just one elf that's going to be doing this.
Interesting. Because I've heard a few people talk about it, and it's like it might be one that I check out just because of people talking about it, but
It's
it's
only
not one that's been on my radar.
it's only 11 minutes to boot.
It
So
also
it's
sounds like your average American addicted to fast food.
depend that's a stretch. I mean, we are, but at the same time, I feel like the fast food addiction has fallen in the past couple of years.
Well, yeah, it's because nobody can afford it.
Also, people are starting to realize just how much it's actually destroying their health.
Episode 2 is out since yesterday, Darren. Also, Doug, watch it alone for safety reasons, says Ross.
Well, like I said, it has the moral guild vibes. It's the first uncensored
And,
show I've seen in a minute.
and Pop Girl says, your fast food is crazy awesome. Pop Girl, I would argue that the fast food chains are better anywhere else. But I suppose that is the case 100% of grass is always greener on the other side.
But
Well,
I
it's
think it
also
also
nice
depends
to
on where
have
you're
a,
from.
and it's also nice to go to a fast food restaurant that has a different variety of things than what you're used to. That's why I will never hesitate to go to a Bojangles out of my area because it carries stuff that we do not.
So, in other words, if you come up to visit me up here in PA, I'll bring you to the Bojangles in Reading.
As long as they have the barbecue sandwich or the roasted chicken bites, then yeah.
I think it would be fun to just bring Darren to like a PA Bojangles and just watch him go off and then being like, "This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong."
Should I bring my uniform?
Oh God, that would almost be like Patreon worthy content.
I could be like, hey, I'm
What do
the
you
new
think, Ange?
manager. I could
Um,
be like, hey, I'm the new manager starting today. And they're like, you're what?
oh God,
That would be hysterical.
that would be hysterical. Um, and Pop Girl wants to try Wendy's.
She says she's thin as a stick and needs to go there for a month to see if she can put weight on.
To be fair, Wendy's is not what it used to be.
Neither is Burger King or McDonald's.
Very true. You know, I was watching videos the other day, then some nostalgia videos came up as to how everything used to look when y'all were growing up, and even when I was growing up, and how different it was, and we're like, holy crap, how things have changed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even especially like the interior design. I forgot Wendy's used to have all those fake plants.
McDonald's used to have play places. Now most of them have been shut down and taken out.
Yeah, and Burger King. Um, There was nothing really iconic about that. But Taco Bell on the inside, I forgot just how unique that place was.
At least now Sonic has better fries, says Ross. Pop
I
Girl Pop Girl McDonald's used to look so fun, now it's so depressing.
Very true.
But
Five Guys
no,
has Five Guys. I like their fries, but everything else is. I feel like it's
you know what? Let's
overpriced. And
let's save the food conversations for a bonus content.
Because we always go into food every week.
I know. We need to stop that.
Then we need to do a whole nother show dedicated to food.
And hell, I could do half the show just talking about food in other countries.
At least you have a bit of knowledge. I would love to try some of the stuff in other countries.
Oh, and random topic, fun idea that I had thrown Darren's way based off of a recent episode of Trash Taste, where they
Oh
took
no.
shows and had a little tournament arc. We thought that it might be fun if we did something like that here.
Oh, the escape room one.
Not the escape room, but a tournament pitting
The
animes
greatest,
against animes.
the
Like
Oh,
greatest of all
bracket.
time.
Oh, the bracket
the
nonsense.
bracket. Yeah. Like they put Freerin against Full Metal.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood.
They had JoJo against One Piece.
That's a toss up, but I gotta go One Piece.
When you think about the Trash Taste guys, and that was like
The-
that was
the-
going to be the first one. Like, no, let's start at the bottom of the list. They had two non-shonens on the list.
And what were
Apparently they
they?
didn't want. Apparently they wanted to appeal to their audience, and try to start World War III.
What were the two non-shonen anime that were on that list?
JoJo.
Freerin and Bochi the Rock.
And Bochi the Rock probably won.
No,
JoJo's
she didn't.
not shonen.
What's not shonen?
JoJo's not shonen.
That's debatable. By definition, sure, but from what I know, it's a fine line.
Well, in terms of popularity and fandom, I mean, it's right up there with shonen.
That I'm not arguing that.
Let's
Although,
see.
wait, knowing Connor, JoJo just went straight through to a certain point.
I'm trying to find exactly what the shows were.
And now, would we do the same shows, or would we
I-
each?
We would pick our own.
I think we would pick our own.
And what did they have? 16, and then they did 16 shows, and then match, and then bracket down.
Yeah, and the 16 shows they had One Piece versus JoJo, Steins Gate against Attack on Titan,
Lionsgate.
Full Metal Alchemist against Freezer, not even Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, really?
Mushoku Tensei is not a shonen, against Vinland Saga.
Oh, wow.
Vinland Saga.
Gurren
I
Lagann
gotta
against
give
Mob.
that one.
Gurren Lagann against Mob Psycho.
Oh, wow.
Clannad After Story against Hunter x Hunter. Bochi went against Jujutsu Kaisen.
Bochi.
And then Code Geass against Made in the Abyss.
Oh, wow. They take some heavy hitters.
And that was all recommended by their Patreons.
Okay. Last question for the stream from Ross. You are given the power to reboot one anime of your choice. What do you choose?
Well, my favorite anime got rebooted, but just under a different studio, which killed some of the fun, but ultimately it was still fine.
Reboot one anime of your choice.
I think you were gonna go with Rosario Vampire Dog to follow the manga.
I don't know if I would go Rosario. I was kind of leaning more towards Familiar of Zero and actually dub beyond the first season. I know there's 4 seasons of the show. The dub of season 1 was really good. And like all 4 seasons of that are fantastic, are really good. I really enjoyed the story. I really would just hope that more of it got dubbed.
Well, when he says reboot, I think that means take the show and then go back and follow the source material, or don't follow the source material. But in most cases, I would say follow the source material, kind of like they did with Fruits Basket.
But I'm trying to think. I mean, Rosario, if you to go and follow the source material, because then you probably would get more than just 2 seasons.
And I think that goes for a lot of shows.
See, I don't really know.
For Angela, it'd be Attack on Titan and actually make it a good ending.
No.
Um,
We can leave Attack on Titan alone now.
no, we can't. What about My Hero Academia?
I like my Hero's not done. It doesn't need a reboot.
Oh, I thought by reboot we could also change it into a good series.
Honestly, potential hot take here. I'm tempted to say Cowboy Bebop.
Actually, and I think hot take. I think No Game, No Life.
We just need a continuation of that. We really do.
But I could argue Cowboy Bebop needs a reboot and maybe do the Trigun angle where they use the same characters and tell a slightly different story.
Or what about Inuyasha and tell the story more instead of from Kagome's side of things, maybe from Kikyo's side of things.
But did
What about Sekirei? Oh wait, that just needs a continuation because it
neither
follows
of you guys watched Trigun Stampede, did you?
Nope.
I
No,
watched I watched the
Or-
original Trigun, but
Okay.
not the.
So, or
My
what
wife
if they
did.
took what if they Cowboy Bebop, but they took certain aspects, they took certain parts out of the live action, the good parts, and put that actually into the anime. And not botch the ending completely.
Ross says Gurren Lagann.
John Knight says Tokyo Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul, I heard multiple complaints about.
But
On that
all
note, we are at the 10 o'clock hour here on Eastern Seaboard, Eastern Standard Time. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It has been a lot of fun. I'm so happy that I was able to be a part of the show tonight. Happy that I was feeling good enough to be a part of the show.
ditto. Glad I'm still awake.
Right.
On that note, we hope everybody has a wonderful week. There is a chance that I might decide to stream a random game during the middle of the week again, depending on my time off. Who knows? Maybe we could see about doing a co-op Bloons Tower Defense 6 game with me, Darren, and Angela to see how far we could actually get. That could be very interesting. But until next week, when we have more fun, zany antics here with Darren, Angela, and myself, I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again right here for more Anime-Zing Radio on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.